All right. I am recording. So if you don't have Photoshop open, go ahead and get it open. The first thing we're going to do is create a new document. Question? Yeah, we're opening up 2014. These Monasters machines did not have 2015 on them, so that's why we're not able to use that. All right, anyways, what we need to do first is go ahead and create a new file. So we're going to go File, New. And then go ahead for document type and choose default Photoshop size. So default Photoshop size, OK. And we just have a blank canvas. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys two types of tools to create paths or shapes. We're going to use them to create paths. And what a path is what it sounds like. It's something that you follow. So in the case that we're going to work with today, you guys are going to be creating a path for text to follow. So instead of going a straight line, it can go in a different shape. So the tools we're going to start off with, I just want to show you the first one. You don't have to use this one. I'm going to show you guys the pen tool, and it looks like a little nib from a fountain pen or a quill. It's this icon right here. And the way it works, if you haven't worked with this before, it's a little complicated, but it's basically like connect the dots. So you just choose, okay, I want it to be a path, not a shape. Choose that first, and then click where you want to start. And if you're making a straight line, you would basically just click where you want the line to go. If you're making a curve, you would click and hold down the mouse. And what happens is it basically pulls up these handles that you can adjust later, but the direction that the handles go in creates the angle that the curve follows. So I just started the curve here. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to start to make another one because I'm going to make a heart. Please stop. And I'm going to start to get close to the end here. When you get close, like if you're ready to close the shape, when you hover over the last point on here, you'll get a little circle on here, and that means it's going to close the shape. Well, in this case, I didn't quite keep the curve that I wanted, so I'm going to fix that. Anyways, the reason these points are here, this is creating what's called a Bezier curve, which basically means it's going to create a perfect curve at a specific angle. The points themselves are called anchor points, and two anchor points, usually if you're doing a straight line, it's just going to be a straight line between those 2 points. When you introduce the curve element, you're going to get the handles. Question? Oh, am I not sharing it? Oh, my bad. Sorry. I thought I was. I forgot that I didn't do that yet. All right, there you go. All right, so I got my heart here. I'll show you guys this again really quick, what I just did. Hopefully you didn't miss too much, but it's this pen tool is what I'm working with. You don't have to use this right now because it's a little tricky, but you're welcome to try it if you want. Whoops. So I'm just making the top of a heart here. And I'm going to make it just kind of go like that. All right, so I got my heart. That's one way to do it. Another way is if you go back in here and hold down the mouse, there's one called the Freeform Pen tool. All right? So I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the Freeform Pen tool this time. And that's the one I want you guys to use. It's a little bit easier to deal with if you're used to working freehand. I really don't like the pen tool in Photoshop. I like it in Illustrator. It's a little easier to work with. But the Freeform Pen tool is a little bit more intuitive because it's like how you draw, basically. What you are going to run into is you're going to get a lot more anchor points than you normally would get. So, again, with this, when you want to close the shape, got to get your mouse as close as possible to the end that you started with, and when you see that little circle appear, that's when you let go. So I got my heart there. And again, this is a path. If you've drawn the heart without switching the path, it's going to be a shape. It really doesn't matter too much because I think when you start using the T tool on this, it's going to work on both a path or a shape. But anyways, the next thing we're going to do is go to the T tool, and you got to choose a color that will show up. In my case, I don't want to choose white because it would be white on white, so I'm going to do red. We'll stick with the whole heart thing. And then when you hover over your heart or your shape or your path, whatever it is, when you get to the actual line, you'll see a little squiggly appear. And when you see that squiggly, you know that you're accessing the text on path feature. So if I click now, it creates an insertion point that uses that path as a baseline. So now I need to make it a little smaller, but I'm going to write Mr. Jeter's class is my favorite class of all time. Whoops, time. Exclamation point. Now, the only thing here is the spacing might be a little bit weird, so you might want to, kind of throw in some spaces here to fix any weirdness. Or you could access the character panel. Remember, I showed you that, and you can change the spacing on there. So that's how you can add text to a path. When you click onto something else like the regular move tool, you'll see, oh, the path is gone. The path isn't really a line. It's just there to show you where a line would be if you actually filled it in or gave it a stroke or whatever. So anyways, that's how you do text on a path. Once you guys have done that, you don't have to do a heart. It could be any shape you want. You can just do a little squiggly line. But go ahead and try typing something on a path. And then once you've done that, go ahead and go to File, Save As, and put it in your classroom shared folders. If you can't remember because you used to have it as a shortcut up here and you lost that, just go to Desktop and then Classroom Shared Folders. And then Jeter, find your class period at, what is it, 6? And then you can find your name in there. Again, you can also drag your cursor over there. Maybe this is actually period 5, right? Period 5. But anyways, for me, I have my fake shared folder, so that's where I'm at. And I'm calling it My Path, or Text on Path, or whatever you want to call it. Any of those things will work. And once you've done that, go ahead and hit Save. And then you can go ahead and hit Maximize Compatibility, click OK, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Got it. All right. So Mr. Jeter's class is my favorite class of all time. You don't have to type that, but if you want to, you can, because I know it's your favorite. So there you go. All right. So anyways, once you've done that, go ahead and hit X on there. We are skipping the next part of that lesson down here, which would have you guys try some other tools and shapes and things. We're not bothering with that. What we are going to do is move on to clipping masks. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my recording.